day. What's up? What's up? What's up? Michael Gebben here, your mind mechanic, tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your ideas don't die in your hearts, heads, and hard drives. So today, I came up with this title, the $1 Million Routine to get you unstuck. I'm excited about this. I've been playing around with different titles and things to get people excited, get people on here. This is not clickbait, but sometimes you got to hear certain things to get you to get the help you need, or that you're wanting, or that would really help you. And so this one today is interesting because as I look back at my past, my entire career, full-time now as a coach for a couple of years, but running a full video production company, full-time, self-employed entrepreneur since I got out of high school. And I've generated a few $1 million of revenue. I have run around with people that don't, had people pay me nothing, that probably don't make $30,000 a year, to people who make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. I had the honor and pleasure of being to Richard Branson's private island a few times and Tony Robbins. I've shot hundreds of weddings, and I've just got to meet the most incredible people. My wife's aunt does 80 push-ups. She's like 80 or 90 years old every day. And at times, some of the everyday people that no one knows has been more inspiring than the people that everyone knows. But here's what I've seen in observing my own life, my routines, my habits, my behaviors, looking at others, asking a lot of questions, coaching a lot of people, watching a lot of interviews, reading a lot of books, and interacting with lots of variety of people from all walks of life, is that as much as I'd love to say, I mean, there's people, and this is where I sit with a lot of my coaching, because I think what I find that most people are stuck with is they have rules for their life, or they find people that they follow that are have so much conviction and so much certainty that there is a specific way to do something. And what I have found is that usually that person's way that they're so convicted on is they've found something that works for them. And then they want to tell everybody about it, assuming that that will work for everyone. Now, what I have found is they will typically work for someone, but there are people who will tell you morning routine. You got to have a morning routine. You got to do X, Y, Z, A, B, C, get up in this morning. And even people I have found through the years who preach that, 99% of them likely are not even disciplined enough to do that exact thing every day. It makes a great headline. It makes a great title. It makes a great book. It makes a great article. But they're not to a T sticking to it. And it doesn't usually say that. It's just like, here's what I do. At 6 a.m. I get up. And at 7 a.m. I do this. And at 8 a.m. I do this. But what I have found is you've got to find what works for you. Some people operate better in the evening. Some people operate better midday. Some people operate better early morning. But some people are trying really hard to make the morning work. And there's so much resistance when if they just realized the evening works for me, and then you do that, and then you excel there. It's like the fish out of water. So for you, what is that? You might not know. So you need to experiment. But when you find something that works, now when I say find something, right now I'm just talking about when you're most productive, right? Because when I look at my life and I look at a lot of others, I think we can look back and, there's times where we can say, oh, I did this and I did that. And I think that there's a time that people make shifts and they get hyper more intentional about their behaviors and their actions and what they're doing and when they're doing it and the times they're doing it. But the success that I had specifically in my life and business and the money that I generated and all the things that happened, quite frankly, I haven't had certain habits and routines on a regular, consistent basis until the last 24 months. My life was completely sporadic. It was completely random. It was spontaneous. I could think I'm going to, go to a friend's birthday party on a Saturday, but on Wednesday I get a call and says, hey, we need you in New York City. Are you available? We've got this shoot. You'll fly out on Friday and you'll get back on Monday. Okay. And that was my life. Unpredictable, what felt uncontrollable. I was at the beck and call of everybody else. But what I found when I look back and I think about this and thinking, well, what is the routine or routines that I had? I really don't believe that the routines or a routine that I had was anything specific from an aspect of I did this and I did this and I did this from like a daily basis. You know, I go by the moniker the mind mechanic. I talk about things around the mind because the more and more I study myself and others, the more and more I see that it is one's mindset, attitude, perspective, ways of looking at things, whether they're optimistic, pessimistic, self-esteem, self-worth, self-confidence, all these inner things that are the game changers for whether or not people are having success or whether or not they're stuck. And so we're looking for the hack. We're looking for the meditation app or the certain thing in certain time and certain amount of journaling and writing and a meme quote and this thing that is going to be the thing that we can get in this rhythm. And we're going to get up at a certain time and certain day and certain minute and do this thing and that thing and drink this and drink that. And all these kind of external things are then going to be what creates the success. But being in the video production world for a long, long time, what I've come to observe that it's hard when you don't have awareness, you just kind of go about doing things. And then when things happen, if it doesn't work for you, you blame the external. If it does, you take responsibility. Like I did that. Or if you're buying a camera to think that you're going to be able to charge more, for the people that it works, they look at the camera and they say, look, I bought this camera. And they'll go around on forums and things and say, hey, I bought this $30,000 camera and I started getting these bigger jobs and I started getting paid more money. And then there's people who look at that on the surface and say, oh, so if I buy that camera, I buy that computer, I buy that software, I buy that lens, I buy that pen, that pencil, that paper, that app, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, because I saw somebody who says, I did this, and then this happened. And so people start to assume, well, if I do that, that will happen for me. What's missed is what's on the underneath, what's underlying underneath that. And a lot of times it's that person who bought that thing, they changed on the inside. And they want to give the credit to the camera. They want to give the credit to the outside thing. But if that was a fact, if everyone using that as an example could buy that camera and charge double the rates, then everyone who bought the camera would be doubling their rates. But it's not a fact, it's fiction. For some people, it works, and for some people, it doesn't. Why does it work for some and not for others? So why are there routines that work for some and not for others? Because on some level, we all are unique, yes, but on another level, there is stuff going on the inside. Because there are people in the same industry as you right now who have less quality everything from an external, maybe where they live, the gear that they have, the cameras, the lenses, the software, the computers, is outdated, whatever, but they're from just a monetary standpoint, they're generating more than you. Why is that? Why could someone, you're that person now who has the fanciest everything, and you're still stuck and confused and not generating the more money when you thought, when you saw people say they did it, that you would be able to too? It's because something shifted likely inside of that person that when they showed up different. Whereas for you, you didn't change at all. And so in buying that, when you have a conversation with somebody day one on the phone, you don't have the fancy stuff. And then day three, you get on the phone with the fancy stuff. And you didn't change. You just changed your external and you keep operating the same way and then wondering why the results aren't coming. And so that's why I'm so adamant that people, if you get the insight, if you get the mental game, your perspective, your conviction in what you do, believing in what you do, not just selling. I'll make probably a bigger video on this, but this idea that when you know you're at a place in your business that somebody comes to you and says, I want you to do this, and you have ideas and thoughts about how what they're saying they want could be better, or you do it different. And here's how you do it. Here's why you do it this way. But you choose to go, I don't want to bring that up because I might not get the job. Like there's a lack of conviction and confidence there. So now you fall more into this order taker role. And order takers, in my humble opinion, is a race to the bottom. You become commoditized if you have no opinions. You keep your thoughts to yourself, right? Now, there's certain careers and situations. That's how it is. There's nothing you can say. You'll get fired. I get it. But it's a choice to be The people that I resonate with the most, they're typically self-employed, or they're trying to be, or they want to be, and they have a business. So if you have a business, by and large, that's providing a service to somebody, being able to recognize that when you change the internal, it's not about some external things and routines and certain times and certain ways to say things and certain ways to meditate and a certain amount of time you meditate and going on walks. Like, I have things. I love to go for walks. I love to go for bike rides. There's certain things that I do that energize me. But overall, it's not a specific minute of the day that I do it that matters, right? A lot of times it just matters at times that I do it. And so through all that I've seen, there is no specific routine that works for everybody, a specific thing that you do every day and every minute. And you may have things that you develop that help you and propel you faster forward, right? But you can have none of those things developed, but simply develop your mind and develop your confidence and develop your conviction in what you do and why you do it, who you are, and be able to shift your perspective from pessimism to optimism, be able to see that this is possible for you. You could do it, because you will take far different actions from that place when you really believe in the work that you do and how you can help and how you do it, than if you think you're worthless, if you think your stuff's not good. Right? That's why some people automatically, they think their stuff is better because they get a better camera. And that is the thing that could have happened without the camera. I hope you hear that, right? So some people, they get the camera, they think their stuff is better. So now they show up when they interact with people differently. While some people don't think they're any better and they get the same result. But you can think you're better. You can be better. You can do better. Right now, today, you can shift these things and start to interact in the world. Some of you right now are extremely talented, but you're looking at somebody else and you think, but I'm not as good as them. So I got to get better. And if you got there, you'd see somebody else who's still better. So that's why there's no amount of achievement typically that will shift that. You have to start shifting it now. When you shift it now, everything you do moving forward will be and get you completely different results. So rock and roll, my friends. Hope you enjoyed that. Trying to keep these, I need like a timer because sometimes I'm not quite sure how much I rant in the very beginning, but I'm trying to keep these about 15 minutes. If you have questions, if you have thoughts, send me a message, leave a comment. Most active right now on Facebook, where I interact in the messages. You can also send me an email if you want, michael@themindmechanic.net. Yeah, appreciate you. This is your daily jumpstart. Michael Gebben, tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your ideas don't die in your hearts, heads, and hard drives. Far too many people are afraid to put themselves out there, afraid to reach out, afraid to send an email, afraid to send a message. What are people going to think? Am I going to bother this person, et cetera, et cetera? And I can tell you that fear is preventing you from all the things that you dream about happening. And typically your fear is not really real. I've reached out to a lot of people, and this idea of bothering and annoying and somebody being mad at me or upset with me has overall never come true. A few times in like 18 years, but not as much as I could imagine it would be. So rock and roll, my friends. Give some likes and love if you're on Facebook. Give it a thumbs up if you're catching this somewhere else, wherever you can. Interact with it. Let me know you're listening. Let me know topics and things that you would like me to cover in regards to things that you're struggling with around the mind, moving forward, fears, frustrations, anxieties, worries. I'd love to hear from you. So keep rocking, keep rolling, have an incredible day, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.